That's right. It's time for Revolution, ladies and gentlemen. AEW Revolution 2024. It's here. It's now. It's wow. I'm here. I'm now. I'm also wow. So we're just going to jump straight into it. Now, I don't know what the lineup is going to be, so just take that with a grain of salt. First match, FTR, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler versus Blackpool Combat Club, John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. I'm just going to be 100% honest here. I'm just going to be 100% honest. BCC, I feel like they're just going to beat the paint strips off of them. I don't know, I just think the BCC are a bit more like scrappy, more tougher, made out of leather. Got Johnny Appleseed feet. None of you are going to know what that means, but hopefully there's a handful of you that know what I'm talking about. Basically, I think that, so two things. I think that the BCC, I think it's going to be a great match. A lot of, flipping and flopping and all that sort of stuff, right? That's not the crux of this. I think the crux is just going to be that I think BCC is just going to tough out FTR more than FTR are going to tough out BCC. It's just in my brain. The second thing I think is what's going to happen is lately, I don't know if you've been noticing this, CMLL has been getting involved with BCC. Well, okay, not the entire company, but most of the roster from CMLL are kind of getting involved with the BCC at the moment. So if you walked up to me and said, hey, Ed, a little ditty, I've got Wrestling Almanac right here, 2024, and in AEW Revolution 2024, right there, a couple CMLL guys are going to get involved in the match, and they're going to cost BCC the match, and then there's going to be more like CMLL BCC matches, and that's how we're going to get more CMLL luchadors involved in AEW. And it's like, okay, well, that makes a lot of sense, because it's not like they haven't been getting involved with, it's not like CMLL. I need to stop saying that. It's not like some of the roster members of CMLL have not been getting involved with the BCC. So if that were to happen at Revolution, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary to happen. So, with all that being said, I still feel like BCC are going to pull out the win on this one. It could be for any one of those reasons, but I'm just going to be honest here. I think that FTR are going to get smacked up by BCC. Next is the All-Star Scramble match. This was supposed to be a Meat Madness match, but injuries have changed plans. No participants have been announced at this time. I wouldn't care if Gandhi and Santa Claus were in the match. You want to know why? Guess who's in the match? Just take a wild guess. Who's in the match? It's Wardlow. It's Mr. Mayhem. He's been going around yapping. And I'm really strong and important and big and scary. I want gold or something. I don't even remember what he said, to be totally honest with you. Okay? The point is, if Wardlow doesn't win this entire faction just makes no sense. I'm not gonna lie, it's giving Retribution in the Thunderdome. These guys are supposed to come in here and tear everything up and just ruin everyone's day. So far, they haven't ruined a single person's day, really, except for their own. And I haven't seen Adam Cole anywhere, which, fine, I did say that. What's the point of him being around if he's injured? But Wardlow hasn't been doing anything. Wardlow has just been screaming and farting about stuff, and he's going to be in this battle royal. And if he doesn't win this match, then what the hell am I doing? What am I doing? What is Adam doing? I figured out who the tags are and the tag team champions are. It was Mike, Bennett, and I don't remember who the second guy is. It doesn't matter, okay? This faction needs to be strong and impactful, and if Wardlow doesn't win this, it is going to ruin their stock. So I don't want anyone to win. I don't care who wins. It doesn't matter. Wardlow needs to win. If everyone in the match just disintegrated and it was just Wardlow, I'd be like, fine. Because at least Wardlow won. Next match is Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita. There's really nothing much to say about this match. I don't understand why you would have Will Ospreay lose in his first official AEW roster member match against Konosuke, right? Great guy, but it wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense for Will Ospreay to lose. It's gonna be a great match. I think it's gonna be great. We're gonna knock paint strips off of each other. I know I say it a lot, but that's the best way I can describe it. So yeah, gonna be a great match, but Will Ospreay is 100% winning this, right? I don't know why he would lose, unless it leads to something, anything, Jesus Christ. Unless it leads to anything down the line, probably not. So, with that being said, Will Ospreay's taking the win on this one. Next up, we have Christian Cage versus Daniel Garcia for the TNT Championship. There's a lot of iterations of this match that I see happening, and matches like these where both competitors can easily come out with the win and it would make sense just because of the timing and just how the storyline has been going so far, It was originally supposed to be Christian and Edge, and if it was Christian and Edge, I'd be like, reluctantly, Edge is going to win this, because you can't have Edge going through all those matches only for Christian to still end up winning, you know? I personally would have been perfectly fine with the original, with how, you know, it was Edge, and then Wardlow beat him, and then Christian won it back, I think, you know, like, just all of that. That was great. I like the way that all, like, rolled up. But now you've got Daniel Garcia into the equation, and that changes things. And I feel like that changes things, but it also doesn't change anything, because it's like, it's not Edge, so we initially were going to have the title change hands, but now that it's not Edge, we don't have to do that. We can go back to what we were planning originally, which I feel like is maybe what they're going to do. Maybe. That's what I'm saying. There's two different iterations of this that you can have. And I know that that's not an answer. Oh, both of them could win. Yeah, I know that that's not an answer. But realistically, yes. Daniel Garcia is in line for a championship right now. It's going to do wonders for his character. He has managed to stay afloat since the Continental Classic. And, you know, I feel like him winning would definitely, you know, boost his stock, for sure. Now that the ranking system matters all of a sudden, right? But I also could see Christian winning. I could see Wardlow or Nick Wayne's mom or Nick getting involved and potentially costing Garcia. Maybe what's his name? Killswitch comes in, you know, and then smacks him up, and then he kicks out, and then Christian does something, and then that's how he wins. Like, both of these are entirely plausible. Realistically, though, I don't think they're going to give it to Daniel, because they probably already had Edge in the books to win, and okay, but again, you can have Daniel win, and there's a couple, now I don't think that there's 1,000,001, but there's a couple people that are floating around, like, what is his name? He's on the, what are they called again? Oh my lord, House of Black, Lord have mercy. Big dude, Brody King, that's his name, Brody King, man. And you could have him challenge him, but then it's like, well, then he's got to win. Well, no, he doesn't have to. But the point I'm trying to make is that you've got I keep saying that. House of Black, and then there's another one. BCC. BCC could also come after him, because if I remember correctly, he did get involved with FTR and BCC, if I remember. There was a 6-man match that he was involved in. So you could realistically have one of them run after him for the championship. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of different avenues you could go down. But realistically, I think that because Edge is injured, I think Christian is retaining. Next, we have Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson for the Continental Crown Championship. Shout out to Eddie Kingston. It's going to be Eddie's winning this. Eddie's winning this. Listen, Bryan Danielson's a great wrestler, but why would you take the Continental Championship away from Kingston? And he's only had like 2 defenses in AEW, and then one of them was in NJPW against Gabe Kidd. Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I never understood this. Why would you give him the championship for him to only hold it for maybe like the time it takes for me to like make a ham sandwich, and then you just give it to somebody else? It doesn't make any sense. It diminishes the title, and it really diminishes Eddie Kingston as a whole. So, unless you want to completely ruin his stock and knock a couple points off of the Continental Championship, you know, because of how fast it moved to somebody else, then yeah, give it to Daniel. But I think that the best outcome should be that Eddie should be the one who wins this one, you know. And I think that, you know, Eddie's like Cody Rhodes, where he loses the less important matches on the way to the big match, and then the big match is when he wins it. So, which sounds bad, which sounds like Eddie cannot bring it home all the time, but he's going up against Bryan Danielson, and Bryan Danielson is not a walk in the park, you know? So, like, this match is definitely going to be, you know, hard-hitting, but I think that ultimately, I think that Eddie should win. I don't think that he will win, just because I'm just looking at Bryan Danielson, it's just like, well, you know, what are you going to do, right? But I think that Eddie should win this match, because he has not really, you know, held the title for very long. He's only held it for, like, a couple months now. I mean, when he won it, right? He won it on in December, and I mean, we're just getting out of February now, so he's not really held it for that long, right? And so with all that being said, it just wouldn't make a whole lot of, at least me personally, wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for Bryan Danielson to take the title away from him. So I think Eddie Kingston's retaining this one. Next, we have Toni Storm versus Deonna Purrazzo for the AEW Women's World Championship. Listen, I get the story. I get it. Oh, where's the old Toni Storm? Oh, tattoo. That's over now. We're done. I don't care about the storyline because the argument is, oh, where's the old Toni Storm? You know, that's over now. That Toni Storm is dead. Long live timeless Toni Storm. Okay, Viva la France, all that. Okay, your argument is useless because it's clearly not working. You know, and Deonna's not winning. Bless her heart. Bless her soul. Glad to have her back. She's a great wrestler. You know, I think she was in MMA at one point. Fantastic. Not winning. Just not winning. You know, would have to be Mercedes Moné, Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker for me to even consider. Right? And again, no offense, but just calling it how I see it, there's absolutely no way Deonna is winning this. And if she does, I'll leave my hat. I'll happily do that. But realistically, Deonna's not winning this. So, next, Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong for the AEW International Championship. There is absolutely, I'm going to say the exact same thing that I said when I was talking about Wardlow. Why would you have this schmuck rolling around in this match only for him to not win? Why would you have the United Embassy or the United Nations or whatever they're calling themselves now show up, make a big stink, only for none of them to win really any matches? You know? Mike Bennett and his partner don't really count because I'm pretty sure they were already tag team champions at that point. And even then, they pretty much just walked up to whoever was holding them and then just took them. And then just went back to what they were doing. Roderick Strong and Wardlow really are the only two who have to prove anything. And if Wardlow loses, that's stupid. And if Roderick loses, that's stupid. Now, apparently, they've been picking off Orange Cassidy's friends one by one. Great. So two things are going to happen. One, either Cassidy's going to retain because best friends are going to come back and they go, oh, they defied all the odds of their injuries. They made it and they're going to beat them. Or it's just going to be a one-on-one, great match. Roderick's going to end up winning. I want it to be the latter because I don't even care. I don't care if they tap dance for 15 minutes. If Roderick doesn't win, it is ruining the entire credibility of the faction as a whole. So Roderick needs to win this one. Next up is Samoa Joe versus Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship. I could see all three of them winning. This is the problem, is all three of them could win. And it would really make a whole lot of sense. Swerve is in line for a title. Hangman would do great, especially with the new, weird, aggressive, I'm willing to throw myself off of a building just to have the championship style character right now. And, Joe is Joe. Samoa Joe. So it just makes sense for all three of them. Realistically, I think that Joe's going to retain just because, he, again, has not had that many defenses. And I think it's going to be mainly just Page versus Strickland the entire time. And then Joe's going to come in and pick up the scraps. Now, I know that there's going to be a lot of near falls and it's going to be great. But it either, and again, no offense to Hangman, right? But it's either gotta be Strickland because you gotta capitalize off of the popularity that he's got right now, or it's gotta be Joe because why would you have Joe? Or it's gotta be Joe because you can't have Joe lose the title so soon, right? Especially with how little he's been defending the title and stuff, and he's been great. He's been great, but it's really been building to Hangman, Swerve, and Joe for the last couple weeks now. And they've all been really staking their claim very well, over who should be the champion. And it, again, seems like it's just been Page and Strickland yelling at each other, and then Joe kind of chimes in at the end. So I think that that's going to play a factor in the match, and that's why I think that it's going to be Page and Strickland kind of, smacking each other around, and then when they both fall over, Joe's just going to kind of, sneak in and then get the pin, and that's how he's going to end up winning. I could be wrong, but that seems like the best or the most plausible outcome for this, so that's what I'm going to go with. Finally, Sting and Darby Allin versus the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. They could do it. They could, if they really wanted to. They could be like, haha, gotcha. We psyched you all out. We made you think Sting was going to retire when in all actuality, it was a lie. It was the salmon jacket lie. That's right. We pulled our own salmon jacket lie. They could do that. I don't think that they would. It just doesn't seem, I don't know. Why did Rick... I hate when stuff like that happens in storylines where they do a thing and then it goes nowhere. Why did Hangman say, oh, I have a knee injury, I'm not going to be in the match? And then he hits Swerve over the side that, hey, it's not a triple threat match, so what did you do that for? What was the point? The match doesn't happen for another 2 days. I don't think that this is going to, you know? Like, what was it doing? Why did Ric Flair be like, oh, I got to talk to the Young Bucks? And then he came out and made it seem like he was gonna, you know, be with the Young Bucks, and then they beat him up. So what was the point of all that last night? What was all that? What was the point of that last week? What was the point? Oh, I want to talk to the Young Bucks. Oh, actually, you know, he was like, oh, it's not been about Ric Flair. It's been about Sting the whole time. It should be about Ric Flair. And then Ric Flair sides with Sting. So what was the point? Anyway. Young Bucks are winning. Like, let's just call a spade here. Young Bucks are winning, right? New characters, you know, they're gonna retire Sting's last match, Sting's last pay-per-view, right? I like that he came down from the rafters. Great. I was more concerned about whether or not he was gonna get stuck on the hook. He didn't, thank God, right? Match is gonna be fantastic. Darby's gonna throw himself in and out of places. It's gonna be great, right? But ultimately, Young Bucks are winning, and then they're gonna bow to Sting, the handshake and all that, and the fireworks. It's gonna be great. I might cry, I don't know, right? But the main takeaway here is that Sting and Darby are gonna lose, and the Young Bucks are gonna be the new AEW Tag Team Champions. So I'm curious how that's gonna go. What do we got? I'm taking BCC beating FTR. They also a scramble match. All right, Chris Jericho, Powerhouse Hobbs, Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Wardlow, potentially Matt Sydal or Ruido, or potentially Dante Martin, Brian Keith, and Penta El Zero. Again, like I said, I don't care who's in the match. If Wardlow doesn't win, it doesn't matter. Will Ospreay's beating Konosuke. Christian Cage is retaining against Daniel Garcia. Eddie Kingston is retaining against Bryan Danielson. Tony Storm is retaining against Deonna Purrazzo. Or, no, Roderick Strong is winning against Orange Cassidy, because if he doesn't, that's stupid. Same thing with Wardlow. And Joe's retaining. I think it's just going to be Paige and Strickland smacking each other up, and then Joe's going to sneak in. And obviously, the Young Bucks are beating Sting and Darby Allin, because it's Sting's last match, so why would he win? Unless he does. Unless he does. We'll have to wait and see. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow. And as always, big hugs. Big hugs all around.